Hey cats, it's your midsole man, EDDBUD here. Loads of you have tuned in for my recent Pegasus Premium review. Thanks for that, by the way. With that Pegasus lineup complete, we can now see what each of the models could bring to a runner's rotation. So a bit of a comparison video for you today. The Pegasus Premium versus the Pegasus 41 versus the Pegasus Plus. Let's get into it. Thanks for joining me on the channel, people. It is always appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button below and also give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help with the YouTube algorithm. Dank as shit. Got some stats for you here. The Pegasus 41 versus the Plus and the new Premium. So easily the heaviest of the bunch is the Premium at 367 grams for my UK 11. And it's easily got the most heel stack as well, with 46mm in my pair, around about 36mm up front. The Pegasus shoes all have the same drop of around 10mm. Probably the most interesting stat though is the fact that this felt quite narrow on foot, and actually the Pegasus 41 has exactly the same measurements in the widest point of the forefoot and the heel. Certainly that Pegasus 41 coming in a little bit sort of tougher, I suppose, in the rubber, but all of the actual outsoles seem to be pretty similar in terms of that short A geometer score. So I'm going to start off with the Pegasus 41 first. I actually quite like this shoe, I've got to be honest. As a daily offering, it kind of grew on me over time. It's probably the most trainer-like shoe of the whole lot though. Slightly more built up internal structure here. We got that sort of booty inner to it. The padding certainly a little bit more consistent over the whole tongue here in the Pegasus 41 than the other models, and there's still a reasonable amount of padding here in the heel. I do think it's actually quite a nice looking shoe, to be honest. All three of these you can certainly see belong under the same umbrella. They're in the same category there of looks. I think the 41's got the most padding across the tongue, then the Premium, and then there's not an awful lot of tongue padding in the Plus. Incidentally, the Pegasus Plus is actually the lightest of all three Pegasus shoes now. It has a wafer thin tongue here, but you've still got the same stylings. You know, they look like they're in the same kind of boat. I certainly felt this shoe was a little bit less present on foot, I suppose, than either the 41 or the Premium. And certainly from my perspective was the best one for pace work. If you're looking for a versatile shoe, then I think this one's pretty good. Oddly though, I found the Pegasus Premium the most breathable of all three shoes. In fact, a little bit too breathable up front in the toe box. I keep getting very cold toes, even on some sort of milder days. It's a bit weird. I'm also finding that this shoe is the easiest one to get a lockdown in over the other two. It just seems to fit my foot really well without having to cinch the laces too much. The thinner laces in the Pegasus Plus meant I had to cinch those laces in a bit more. It's a little bit more pressure on top of the foot, and also the same with the 41. I had to use a runner's knot in this one to avoid any heel slip. The Pegasus Premium is easily the plushest of all three shoes. The extra padding around the Achilles and the heel there is a bit of a staple of the Pegasus lineup, and we've certainly got that here. If we're thinking about the midsoles of each one, then I think certainly they've all got their own unique character now. The Pegasus 41 with the React X, which is, you know, a lot more dense than the React X that we've got in the heel of the Pegasus Premium. You've got your two air units here, much thinner midsole here. I found this one needed some braking miles to really free up the React X that we've got here. I always find that those air units that we've got here in the Pegasus really do outperform foam after, you know, a lot more miles. That's just a lot more durable, I suppose, and retains its properties. They just keep on going, where some foams do bottom out over time. It's a shame they didn't include some sort of shank here in the Pegasus Plus to give it a little bit more pop and propulsion. I mean, it does feature Nike's flagship foam, which is Zoom X, though it's not the same formula here as we had back in the sort of exciting Zoom X days with the Vaporfly 4%. Not as airy and just a bit more rubberized, I suppose. Aside from that, I find this one a really decent, nimble daily offering. Kind of looks pretty good as well. If you want to introduce a hint of speed work into your daily training, then the Pegasus Plus might be great for that. Now, the Pegasus Premium, though hefty, I found actually handles speed pretty well. In fact, I'm kind of liking this shoe more and more as I use it. It seems to be breaking in a bit more. Just seems to work for me. I'm quite liking the bounce that it offers. The weight of the shoe is almost beneficial, really. It's just giving you a bit more momentum, and it's actually quite fun doing some faster reps on the treadmill the other night. So kind of a shoe that's growing on me really, and I guess at least it offers a bit more character out the box than the other two Pegasus models. Yes, it's expensive, and yes, it's reasonably narrow, but of the three, I think I actually prefer the midsole in this one the best. So there we go. Kind of bought this shoe thinking I was going to really hate it, but I'm actually quite enjoying it so far. The denser React X and Air Unit combination here in the Pegasus 41 offers little bounce back really. It's more about impact protection, I suppose. It really doesn't feel like it's throwing you forward or anything. It's just absorbing the impact of your foot strike. Whereas the Premium really does feel like it's increasing your turnover and cadence because it's sort of bouncing you upwards again. I think if you're purely looking for like traction and grip on a daily basis, then the 41's are a really good bet, and you can often pick them up for, you know, a really good price, you know, well below the retail. I think the Plus and the Premium just have more points of failure. That's my only real worry, I suppose, from this lineup now. The exposed midsole poking through the bottom of the Plus. You know, you could easily get something wedged in there and it's going to really mess up the foam. And of course with this one, you got that Air Unit poking through there, shining through. If you get something through there, well, I don't think the ride's going to be that bouncy anymore. I think from a daily perspective, it can't be denied that the cheaper options here are always going to be more attractive to runners. You know, the Pegasus 41 here is a good 70 quid cheaper than the Premium, and, you know, that makes a difference right now in 2025. As much as I'm liking this shoe, I do think it's going to be one of those for the real fanatics. If you're curious about tech and, you know, you want to try new stuff, then the Premium's a good bet. And there's loads of people in the comments that are just saying it's a leisure shoe. I can tell you it is a running shoe, okay? Run a number of miles in it now and it actually feels pretty good, but it's just really, really expensive. I mean, On Running have got some options in that field, haven't they, that are, you know, reasonably good running shoes, but they're just way overpriced, and I think that's kind of what Nike's done here. I mean, the Pegasus Plus feels nice and light and nimble. It's kind of a good middle ground between these two. Though, when you consider that you've got things like the Featherlight Adios 9 from Adidas, which is coming in way, way lighter than this one, you do wonder, you know, does Nike need another shoe really that's super lightweight, that fits into that category of sort of track and shorter distance work? I know the Streakfly 2's coming, but I don't think that's going to be the answer. I don't see it as a competitor to the Adios 9. So they just need to shed some ballast here from the Pegasus Plus to make that a real contender to that shoe. When I got this one, I kind of thought, are they trying to make like a Prime X2 competitor? But of course with the weight here, it just isn't anywhere close to that. Where you got the Air Unit, you do gain some bounce and some kind of excitement to the run, but when you've got pretty much every other brand's high stacked, you know, over 40 mil shoe coming in way lighter and just feeling more nimble, then yeah, Nike just aren't quite hitting the high notes with this. Don't get me wrong, I think this could have been a great shoe, but it's just too much weight. If they'd removed some of the unwanted stuff here, I feel it could have been a real banger. Adidas and Saucony's take on this kind of shoe are just so much lighter and just fit more into the running lineup. I think the Adios 9's a clear 100 grams lighter than the Pegasus Plus. I think Prime X Strung 2 is about 60 grams lighter than this, and don't forget that one's got more stack height than this shoe as well. So are Nike on the right lines with their Pegasus lineup now in 2025? Well, I think there's still room for improvement in terms of the weight of some shoes, perhaps the pricing too, and the narrow nature of a couple of them. I think the Pegasus Plus is probably okay. Where you're using softer foams though, you always will have that inherent stability issue. It will keep cropping up. What are your views on the Nike Pegasus range now in 2025? One of the most enduring models of all time. Is it still worth a roll of the dice? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. A weird and wonderful musical interlude for you today comes from a man called Jeff Goddard and a track called Skymen. Now this was one recorded by Joe Meek back in the early 60s, features a sound that plays the melody which is not dissimilar to the one you hear on the hit track Telstar by the Tornadoes, though this one has lyrics and the lyrics are very, very strange. Jeff Goddard's talking about the Skymen who are gonna, you know, come down from space and greet us and we're not to be afraid of the Skymen. You know, they don't mean us any harm or anything like that. Just the whole vibe of this one is really strange, like some sort of sci-fi track meets a British pop tune. It really is a bizarre combination, and Jeff Goddard's vocal delivery as well is very characterful. The way he says darling is just brilliant. I don't know where he's got that from. I think he might have come from sort of like Gloucester area or something, I'm not sure. Go and check it out anyway. It's one of those Joe Meek rarities. I think they found it on like a bit of tape or something somewhere. Skymen by Jeff Goddard. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Also drop us a comment to help with the algorithm. And if you can afford it, drop us a super thanks or become a member to help support the channel on a more ad hoc basis. My name's Ed Bud and I'll be seeing you. Where's my new glasses?